Have y'all seen this? This is why CNN has such bad ratings because they just cannot stop hating. Let's get it going. This is absolutely hilarious. Abby Phillips is about to get obliterated. Check it out.
Musk for a second, because I mean, it is true that he spent $20 million on affiliated groups that were involved in this race. Is it a risk for Republicans to put all their eggs in that basket? Not only did he spend the money, he came to the state.
Right.
He came to the state. He talked about cutting Medicaid, Social Security through DOGE, bringing those issues up.
Actually, he never talked. He explicitly said in Green Bay that he would not cut Social Security.
Well,
that's exactly what he said.
Talked at his rallies.
No, other people said about that, but I was there. I watched him.
Okay.
He did not say he was going to cut Medicaid.
Other people at his rallies who work for DOGE, who work for Elon Musk's organization, talked about those issues.
No, I was at the rally. Not one of them said that.
That's
what protesters said, but nobody there actually said that.
Do you think that there are risks here?
There are. If people believe the lies that people are saying about that. But that's not at all what they said. If people believe that Medicaid and Medicare is going to be touched, that's just a outright lie. What he talked about are people who are over 120 years old, who clearly are not alive,
the reason I brought it up is
Social Security or Medicaid.
Okay, well,
that's totally wrong. I think
just to sort this out, the reason I brought this up is because the claim here is that there's massive, widespread fraud and that's all they're addressing. That's obviously a disputed claim because it's not true that 120-year-old people are getting Social Security checks. The checks stop at a certain point automatically because those checks and balances
but those Social Security numbers get counted for various parts of the federal government. So they don't get a benefit directly to those people, but they count for money that gets allocated to different departments in their budget. And they shouldn't be. If somebody is no longer alive, they shouldn't be able to count that.
I guess my fundamental question was, what are the risks here of Elon dabbling in elections for Republicans going forward?
Well, again, I think in the end, he's going to have to continue to make the case. Part of the reason why, when we talked about our recall, what flipped things for us early on in that recall process, Time magazine called me Dead Man Walker. And the reason was because all the narratives coming out from the press, coming out from the left, were about all these horrible, egregious things. Once we started to give examples of things we were actually doing, not the things the press said, not the things that our opponent said, but the things that we were actually doing, when we ended up going before the voters in the final election in the recall, we actually won by more votes than we did. So I think that what's paramount for him or anyone else aligned with him is keep giving actual examples of what they're doing. Set aside things like Social Security and make it abundantly clear that that's not being touched. But if there's waste, fraud, or abuse, spell it out, make the case, and bring it to the voters.
Now, they have said this over and over and over. They keep trying to push this narrative, and it has been proven that they're not going to touch people's Social Security. And it is just incredible to see that they keep trying to say the same thing over and over again. And Abby Phillip is really good at cutting people off. I think that may be why she's in the position that she's in, because she will not give you a chance to talk, and she won't even know exactly what she's going to say next, but she'll do whatever she can to make sure you can't get your point across. Now, luckily that didn't work today, but you think that people will be getting sick and tired of these lies. CNN, their ratings are going in the tank. It's terrible. And Elon and the DOGE team have already said that they will not be touching Social Security at all. They won't be touching the VA, none of that stuff. And if anything, people are going to get more money, have larger checks, and be in a much better position once they get rid of all the waste and fraud. But these people sit on here and they lie and they lie and they lie and try to push these narratives out to the American people. That's why it's so hard to talk to baby boomers and all these people that just watch CNN or just stuck on the news and don't have a different media source, because they just believe that the news is right when really what they're doing is lying. That's why their news stations are dying. You guys drop a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. This is great. We need to keep this up. Abby Phillips, I know she is a very high paid individual, but I think she's only paid that much because she can cut people off and not give people a chance to talk, and it's getting so annoying. Ha! I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.